Oh, microphone test 1 2 1 2. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. How's it going? Force here. I am happy. I am back. Oh man, I was itching for some StarCraft 2 commentary. I'm loving it. This is going to be a best of 3 series here between DarKFoRcE and HuK. You can see right now we are in Metalopolis. HuK over here in the 9 o'clock position as our red Protoss player, and over here in the 3 o'clock position is DarKFoRcE as our blue Zerg player. Protoss versus Zerg, best of 3 starting off here on Metalopolis. DarKFoRcE versus Liquid HuK. And yes, as mentioned prior, I am happy, ready to be back. I made a video, well, I guess it was 2 days ago or something like that, day and a half ago. I went on a little hiking trip, just went out, to a lake house with my friends, a little mountain nearby. We hung out, it was great. Girlfriend came along, all that fun stuff, great time. I love hanging out with my friends and family, and as such, I try to make sure that I always do some sort of a mini vacation, at least every, other week or something like that. It's just 2 days or whatever, and just go and do something with my friends and or family, and it's great. It's fantastic. Got to do it, man. It's important stuff. But with that said, I like producing content for you guys, and I like keeping you all entertained, so I like to keep this train rolling. Keep rolling. Someone's got to get this reference. Oh, man. Now, I know you all be loving this right here. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the game now. HuK moving out right into DarKFoRcE's base, and he'll be there in 1 second, and there we go. Bam. Anybody's saying Force is pretty hype right now. I'm just, like I said, I'm excited. After a few days, I'm like, man, I really want to do a video commentary or, a Diablo video or something, just any sort of content. The commentary is probably, it's so exciting, though. It's so fun. I love it. All right, anyways, that's enough of that. So, HuK moving around, scouting out, and it looks like DarKFoRcE will be starting off here on one base. He's just kind of dancing around with that bad boy right now, trying to steal a little bit of resources. Hopefully he gets some. Not quite enough time there. He's just he's feigning the resource steal. Look at this. He's juking out right the last moment there. That's pretty intense. Some pretty intense micro. HuK over here. Gateway just about finished. Second pylon coming through. Now on 2 gases. Ooh, second gas before that assimilate, before the Cybernex core even starts building. That is pretty intense. That is very, very gas heavy. Certainly much heavier than you typically are going to be seeing. Spawning pool is finished right now. He got just enough Vespian gas to start that metabolic boost and pulling guys off that extractor back onto those resource line, and we should be seeing that expo attempted to go down in a 1 or 2 more supply. Now, interested to see the HuK didn't even bother trying to delay that at all. He is just going to head out with that probe, and I think he's going back home. He might actually be chilling out over here though, and using that probe, in not too distant future to do a little bit of secondary scouting. We can see actually those Zerglings are fanning out, attempting to find that probe. However, they will not managed to do so because he's going to be hiding back here in that corner, I'm going to have to say. So Cybernex core is finished. Now let's keep a close eye. Look at this already. Cybercore just finished, and he's at 200 spare Vespian right now, so we certainly want to see what HuK has got going on, but that again is very Vespian heavy. Pretty intense situation right now. Zergling moving on up, scouting things out. He did see that Chrono Boost going down on that Cybernex core, and he's going to want to check up in another moment or two just to see if that's still going on, because again, he wants to know, hey, HuK, is he doing something fancy like a 4-gate? Don't see that very often at professional play, but certainly a possibility. DarKFoRcE has his hatchery 50% of the way finished. Metabolic boost is just about finished as well, sitting at both Xel'Naga towers. Got some nice Overlord spread over here. This one will be meandering over in this direction. There's that probe. Will be used for secondary scouting. I should be seeing that head out. Look at that heading out right. It's like I have some sort of a game sense or something. Looks like HuK will be doing a 3-gate expand, so that gas being so early, of course, allows him to go very sentry heavy for this 3-gate expand build. He's just going to keep churning out those sentries, and this allows him to, counteract any heavy push that DarKFoRcE may possibly do with the fact that he will have force fields. So there you go, sentry heavy 3-gate expand, pretty popular tactic, although I haven't seen it in my most recent commentated games for PvZ. Looks like we're seeing a proxy pylon getting placed down over there for a HuK. That will be used for checking out with the additional expansion. But ooh, look at that, DarKFoRcE scouting out right in time. Let's see if HuK manages to cancel. Yes, he does. So DarKFoRcE sending that Zergling out on that Shift Q attack command and managed to run right into that pylon that HuK was attempting to proxy down. Now we can see right now we're trying to move back up into the base, and he's actually going to get right back up there, and let's see if he catches. He should be seeing that Roach Warren and that Evo chamber. If he happens to head on over in that direction, taking 1 shot to the face there from the Queen, then we'll be chilling back here in the corner right behind that smoke screen. Looks like DarKFoRcE sending over the Overlord, though. We'll certainly be aware of that, and we've got 1 Zergling in hot pursuit of that probe, and he will be chasing it down. And actually, I think HuK might be losing it, not paying quite enough attention. He was back over here taking out that Zergling, so he's doing an eye for an eye there. One Zergling for one worker. That's a fair trade for HuK as far as he is concerned. Although it does look like HuK is a little bit further behind right now. I'm not sure. I believe there was a small little engagement. Something got lost there, at least momentarily. I've got that Zergling to just a little bit of health right now. So the proxy pylon did get taken out again. Very nice work there by DarKFoRcE. And we have another, oh wow, another proxy pylon over here by HuK, and that's a free kill right now for if he knows about it. He doesn't know about it right now. And so we're going to seeing some additional warpins. These are 3 zealots that will be moving out right now, trying to force the creation of more Zerglings, but also trying to do a little bit of damage. Now he should be turning around with those Zerglings. There we go. So spotting those zealots, turning around with the Zerglings. The great thing about this, though, you know, HuK is sacrificing these pretty much. Like, he's guaranteed to lose these. It looks like he will be target firing down some workers. And yes, those zealots are dead right now. But one of the big things is that, you know, he's pretty comfortable right now. He's just been sitting back his main base. Wow, look at all those sentries. Sitting right now, 9 sentries. So he's just been allowed to macro up, work on his worker count. He does have hallucination finished right now. So being incredibly sentry heavy. Look at that, 3 Phoenixes headed out. And this is right about the time where if HuK had followed up with a Stargate, he would have had some Phoenixes. So very, very nice play here by HuK. This is going to allow him to possibly psych out DarKFoRcE into thinking there's some Phoenixes in play, and this may result in the creation of some additional queens, possibly even that Hydra Den going on. All sorts of things are a possibility. We do have that Phoenix. One thing to, unfortunately though, for HuK is that since he did have that Phoenix engage the Overlord there, then right now that immediately tells DarKFoRcE, hey, that's not real because the Overlord took no damage. So that's certainly a little bit of an issue there. It looks like also DarKFoRcE will be moving out with that Overseer scout, and we'll be getting a full scout here of HuK's base. The Stalker's getting warped in right now. We'll be trying to target fire down that Overseer. The Overseer might be able to make it, though. I do not think so. The Stalker's just fast enough to shoot that out of the sky, and see you later. Big chunky mess right there. So unfortunate, but very nice play there by HuK. Again, I think the only little bit of an issue there was that in engaging, in that Phoenix getting within range of those Overlords, caused it to engage, and then DarKFoRcE saw, hey, the Overlord took no damage. That was hallucinated. No big deal. Can see right now, HuK is attempting to move right into his 3rd expansion. He has, in fact, scouted out that 3rd from DarKFoRcE. Looks like that was from that Phoenix scout. We do have a lot of Zerglings. Not a lot, but we've got a little handful here of Zerglings moving out to just scout right now. That's the entire purpose there. Maybe try to catch 1 or 2 probes out of position, anything like that. But the primary focus there of these Zerglings is to scout. And it looks like he is scouting the fact that HuK does plan to move into this 3rd. Spotting that proxy pylon pretty much is a dead giveaway. The fact that, hey, it looks like there's probably an expansion coming out. DarKFoRcE does have those tunneling claws coming on through. Very, very nice. Does he have burrow research yet? No, he doesn't. Does have tunneling claws as well as ventral sacks. Ooh, do really want to see that burrow, though. That's the only way it's going to be effective. Maybe he's holding off just a little bit longer. He also already has that speed upgrade right now. Zerglings move forward, getting engaged by those Stalkers. Couple more hallucinated Phoenixes moving out for some additional scouting. He will be checking this 4th just to see if DarKFoRcE had gone to his 4th when scouting out that HuK was moving into his 3rd. And sorry for that little hiccup right there. I did have to pause the commentary momentarily. I got a darn phone call. That is why, my friends, you put your phone on silent when you're in the middle of commentating. So HuK actually just moving out to, you know, test the waters a little bit and trying to get a little map control. He did manage to kill off the 1 Zergling. You can see that blood spatter right there, and he will actually get the 2nd Zergling over here because DarKFoRcE not paying attention to the fact that it's coming. A little bit distracted by these Phoenixes, unfortunately. Did lose that 2nd Zergling there as well. So HuK, yes, just trying to get some map control. He does have this wall off as well, some cannons there to back it up with these gateways. So we'll be sticking gateway heavy. I do not see, doesn't look like the makings of Colossus anytime soon. Just sticking with this gateway tech. He does have Twilight Council just building right now, getting some observers out into play here. Level 1 ground upgrade coming on through here as well. Zerglin moving on back, and this one will run right into the Zealot there. There's 1 shot, 2 shot, and there's number 3. See you later, Zergling. Another Zergling all sitting over here for DarKFoRcE. We'll be interested to see if HuK decides to go over and get that free kill again. You know, these are small little things, and certainly while there's nothing else going on, that's going to be something I need to get excited about something. But, you know, these small little victories, getting that extra kill or two, even if it's just a Zergling, you know, it's only 25 minerals worth of a unit, but it adds towards that tally. The unit lost, you know, this thing certainly makes a difference as the game progresses. The further behind you get, the worse and worse off you are. So, yeah, certainly does make a difference, even if it's a small victory. It's a victory nonetheless. Now, we're doing an infestation pit right now. I do not believe we have any infestors in play. No, we do not. Just roaches. Tons and tons of roaches. We got some banelings getting ready for transition as well. Phoenix Scout continuously moving out right now. HuK loving this Phoenix Scouting, not relying on that observer for fear of possibly losing it once DarKFoRcE detects it's coming. Zerglings trying to get surrounded, but uh-oh, Stalkers will be moving up. We've got Blink Research coming through. They don't have it yet, but here's some free Zergling kills. He did lose the Zealot, but overall, looked like that did work in HuK's favor there. So getting a bunch of Zergling kills there for absolutely free. So yes, Blink Research coming on through the level 1 upgrade, getting very close to finish right now. We also have a Templar Archives coming into play. Now let's keep an eye out to see if HuK decides, is he going to go Storm Heavy, or is he just going to be rolling out with those Archons? Using those High Templar to create Archons is more cost effective than using Dark Templar. So that's why sometimes you will just see a Templar Archives for the sole sake. Chrono boosting nothing. There we go. Psionic Storm finally getting research. So yes, it looks like he will use the High Templar for their primary function, dropping those Psionic Storms, and then possibly later on working the Icons. Now, specifically, I casted a series of games with MC. Actually, I believe it was 2 series back-to-back. And he loves Archon heavy play, and that's pretty much one of the primary reasons I mentioned it. I certainly believe that HuK may have followed suit with that. Taking out 1 free roach, there's a 2nd free roach as well. And again, those small victories, as I mentioned before, they make a difference. Now we have some Baneling dropping in the works here for DarKFoRcE, a very roach heavy army. 17 more roaches. We've got Neuroparasite coming on through, so we should be seeing some Infestors. Still none in play, but he will be getting some at some point. Does he have the Pathogen Glands? Yes, he already has that research. Also got that Hive as well as that Spire coming out. So getting ready to move into Broodlords. It's small Stalker Force. Luckily, though, with that Blink Research, able to pull right on back. That Zealot is a goner. There we go. Finally turning around, killing off that Zealot. And again, with that Blink off cooldown, getting a few free shots and then pulling back to the bulk of his army. And here we go. Nice little spread we've got going on. High Templar still can't storm yet. Just about finished, though. There we go. Psionic Storm is ready to go. And we've got those Blink Stalkers prepared to try to stay away from those Banelings. DarKFoRcE seeing those force fields getting dropped down, decided to pull back right now. And this is a very tentative situation for DarKFoRcE. He needs to be very careful. Look at that, HuK preemptively dropping some force fields. He just does not want to walk into that with those force fields down. It makes things a lot more difficult. But here come the Banelings. Big storms dropping on the Overlords, and the Banelings not doing a lot of damage. But storming zone Stalkers walking right through that storm damage, getting done to those sentries as well. Roach is pushing on forward, and HuK might be taking a lot of damage, though. He does have a lot of Blink Stalkers, and he can warp in right next to all these pylons. There are no more Banelings in play. Blink Stalkers moving back right now. Lots and lots of roaches here. Unfortunately, 1 gateway. No, that is unpowered. I was going to say it's not a warp gate. Doesn't really matter, though. Few Blink Stalkers over there. Lots of roaches, though. We got more roaches coming on in. Overlord's pulling back home right now. He doesn't want to lose those. Losing 1 gateway. Will be losing a 2nd gateway, quite possibly. DarKFoRcE, though, still no burrow research, and he got those tunneling claws. There we go. Finally getting that burrow research. A few force fields, though, keeping those roaches at bay. This will allow the Blink Stalkers to do that damage with a superior range. Plus Blink Black, killing off 1 Infestor and a 2nd Infestor. Fungal Growth does go down, but it's a little bit late. Roaches look to be getting overwhelmed by the Stalker heavy army right now from HuK. And oh, that is very unfortunate there. Now I'm just completely baffled because we saw, you look at that, both the speed and the tunneling claws are research, but he is just now getting burrow. Really concerned that was an issue. I do not believe DarKFoRcE meant to do that. Let me know if there's something that I'm missing out on, but getting the tunneling claws before you even have burrow doesn't make a lot of sense. If you had timed the 2 of them to coincide to finish at the same time, that would have made a lot of sense. But unfortunately, without that burrow, tunneling claws, kind of a useless upgrade and kind of a waste of resources. But anyways, either way, you know, he did do a bit of damage. And let's take a look overall at the unit loss tab. They are relatively even. HuK is a little bit ahead. He hasn't lost quite as many resources as DarKFoRcE. Keep in mind, though, DarKFoRcE did kill off a few production buildings. He does have this one weakened up just in case he moves in for a 2nd push. He will be able to take that out relatively quickly there. Now, we do have a Hive in play here for DarKFoRcE. We also have that Greater Spire coming on through. So the obvious transition here is going to be to Broodlords. That is the reason you get a Greater Spire. Broodlords, the most effective method for Protoss really is, you know, using those Blink Stalkers. Also, Void Rays is effective as well. Although at the moment, HuK is not in the position to get Void Rays. It looks like he is getting ready to move into a 4th right now, but he doesn't have a single Stargate in play. He will just be sticking Gateway heavy here. Getting actually those level 2 weapon upgrades right now. So, you know, if DarKFoRcE can get those in play, the whole goal here is to use Fungal Growth to keep the Blink Stalkers at bay, and this allows you to let those Broodlords do massive amounts of damage. Now, Blink Stalkers, again, taking advantage of that great mobility that they have and just kind of dancing around the map, trying to get, again, 1 or 2 free kills here and there. There we go, Stalkers blinking forward, getting a few free shots there. The Zerglings engaging. DarKFoRcE not paying attention there and losing those Zerglings once more unnecessarily. Can see right now DarKFoRcE is moving up into that high yield expansion. He's doing what he can to try to maintain control of these Xel'Naga towers. He does, of course, want to know what the HuK is doing. He wants to know what's going on, where his units are, and everything like that. And DarKFoRcE is just kind of moving all over the place. We got some Speedlings moving on into what looks to be the attempted expansion HuK, getting ready to drop that with that probe. They're getting us around there on that Zealot. We also have a bunch of Roaches, some Infestors over here as well. Broodlord's getting ready to come into play right now, and DarKFoRcE trying to prevent the possible high yield expansion over here. And he has delayed this expansion over here. He actually managed to kill off that probe, I believe. So with a dead probe, HuK will be forced to pull another one over there to get that 4th expansion dropped. We do have an observer moving across the map right now. Let's take a look in terms of Broodlord count. We're sitting on the 1. 2 more Corruptors coming into play right now as well. So he will planning to get about 3, it looks like. At least from the get-go, Adrenal Glands turning those Speedlings into Cracklings. Level 3 melee upgrade, finally getting the level 1 Carapace upgrade here as well. HuK just on the level 2 weapons upgrade in just one moment. No armor or shields. Shields are kind of a much later game thing, but at least armor. Would really love to see HuK try to come out with a little bit of that. And again, we are seeing DarKFoRcE just move around and trying to get those Zealot kills and maintain that control of those Xel'Naga towers. And once more, do expect HuK to use those Blink Stalkers, utilize those to their most effective method. Ooh, look at that! Zergling burrowed here, and again delaying this expansion here for HuK. HuK will have to wait until he gets some sort of cloak detection, be it a cannon or possibly coming over there with an observer as well. And actually will be forced to just get some cannons, maybe not realizing where his observer is right now. We have that observer sitting over there, or possibly just not wanting to move it at all. And again, a constant struggle of the Xel'Naga towers here between these two players, just back and forth. Again, really want to try to maintain control of that. And as we can see right now, those cannons just about finished, so that will get rid of that Zergling and allow this expansion to get dropped down. But really not seen much of anything besides this tower kind of tug of war between these two players. So here we go, cannon is up. See you later, Zergling. But you know, the really great thing here for DarKFoRcE is that he's delayed, you know, he's really delayed HuK quite a bit, quite tremendously. He's managed to delay that expansion for a very, very long time. And in fact, HuK, you know, again, paying attention to engagement, still delayed even more. Some storms going down on that big Roach heavy army. And uh-oh, Blink Stalkers going forward, but the burrow in play. We do have those Broodlords in play as well, so we will finally be seeing some interesting engagements here. But up until this point, well, you know, at least that Xel'Naga tower tug of war was somewhat interesting. And ooh, managing to kill off those Zerglings right before they managed to kill off, destroy that pylon there for HuK. So now that Broodlords are in play, HuK will be forced to respond. Again, Blink Stalker's great, but the big danger is walking right into those fungal growths, and that immobilizes those Stalkers and prevents them from being able to get right up under those Broodlords. A few more Broodlords coming out here for DarKFoRcE. DarKFoRcE now sitting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count 6 bases right now for DarKFoRcE. He's pretty much mining from actually all but the main, so very nice spread here of those workers, not mining out of one base too quickly. Doesn't have this base saturated yet, but doesn't really need it because he has so many mining bases with resources left. So very, very nice. Let's take a look here at the income tab. DarKFoRcE is ahead at the moment right now in terms of resources gathered. So right now, it really becomes, especially on this map, it really becomes a, what is he doing? Look at this conga line here, Stalkers. It really becomes a matter of trying to maintain control of the middle, and, you know, it's all about that engagement. Now, a real big concern for Zerg players on this map is a Sentry-heavy Protoss army laying down force fields. There are just so many choke points. It's a very, very big issue. And we're going to obviously assume that HuK did have that spread so that he could respond quickly to any possible attack from any position that DarKFoRcE may attempt to lay down. We have a couple Roaches being dropped in the main over here as well for DarKFoRcE. High Templar moving forward again. A few storms. Storms aren't the most effective against those Roaches, but still doing some damage, immobilizing those Immortals and taking them out very quickly with the Broodlords. Roaches in the main, not doing anything over here. A few Roaches over here, taking out one cannon, trying to get a second. Looks like those Stalkers that will take care of that. A few more Roach reinforcements moving on in. And we know those Broodlords moving forward. Lots of Broodlings. Look at all those Blink Stalkers, though. Needs to be careful. There we go, blinking down beneath those Broodlords and taking them out so quickly. The Infestors get target fired again. Oh no, Blink Stalkers will tear through the rest of these Broodlords. So those Infestors, once those get taken out of the equation, those Broodlords are very vulnerable. And you can see, given the fact that HuK was so Blink Stalker heavy, he was able to demolish that. But now we've got 13 Infestors coming out right now. A few Queens forced to split up. Still, those Roaches in the main will be burrowed and trying to do just as much damage as possible, just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance and harassing in that main. Now HuK pushing back the main force of DarKFoRcE away from that high yield, leaves it exposed, and HuK will be able to do a bit of damage right now. He will be trying to take it out. We'd only have a few mortals sitting mostly Blinkstalker heavy. Again, so mobile. This is really, really great for HuK because he can just, you know, take something out and then leave almost instantaneously. And until those infestors come into play with enough energy to fungal growth, there's really nothing DarKFoRcE can do about it. So losing that high yield, still some more roaches burrowed over here. It looks like that other group of roaches did get taken out, but yes, HuK taking out that high yield, deciding time to head back home. He is going to take that, chalk it up to a victory, wipe his hands clean, and walk back towards his home base. Very nice play there by HuK, taking out that high yield, and again, being so very Blinkstalker heavy, provides him that great mobility that allows him to do what we just saw there. So very unfortunate situation there for DarKFoRcE. Again, this big engagement that we saw take place over there, those infestors getting sniped down that allowed those Blinkstalkers to get right up under those Broodlords and get all up in their face. And that's a huge problem because those Broodlords are very susceptible to those Blinkstalkers when they are within the range there. So as mentioned prior, what DarKFoRcE needs to try to do is it's all about positioning and trying to lay those fungal growths and provide that buffer for your Broodlords, because if he can do that, he'll be in a solid spot. Something else to keep in mind is that the Broodlord sitting right here can just completely devastate any expansion that we may see from HuK, and that's certainly part of the reason I'm assuming why HuK hasn't gone to that high yield yet and just continuing to expand basically on his side of the map. We do see another roach drop going on at the same time. Here goes that push, and using that fungal growth to snipe down a few of those Blinkstalkers. More fungal growth that will allow DarKFoRcE to retreat. We have got these. Needs to be careful, very careful. Again, try to provide that buffer for those Broodlords. Those Broodlords are very expensive. You don't want those to die unnecessarily. Not sure where the roaches over here went. We do have, looks like, yes, just dancing around the center of the map. So as I had mentioned earlier, needs to be careful with those infestors. Again, those infestors getting caught out of position. Again, those snipes is very dangerous, but again, nicely timed fungal growth there. Another fungal growth. The Broodlord should be able to do a little bit of damage here. Those infestors, we got a few more with energy, but the Blinkstalkers, getting too close right now, and he's forced to leave those Broodlords. He is leaving them high and dry. What happened to No Man Left Behind? Very nice. Very nice feedbacks on those infestors. Still, though, I don't even know if he killed any. I think he just dissipated some of those ones with low energy. But still, pretty intense engagement there. I really thought for a moment that DarKFoRcE was in a very bad position. He was going to lose those Broodlords, but we saw how quickly those Broodlords just tore through the Blinkstalkers. Even though, those Blinkstalkers are in a good position when underneath the Broodlords. That fungal growth, plus the Broodlings that were all over them, just basically tore right through their shields and dropped them very quickly. The fungal growth, again, with being so infestor heavy, I mean, taking a look here, we can see right now sitting at 14 infestors. Certainly made the difference because the DPS on that fungal growth is very strong. Couple of burrowed roaches. Have they got many kills? There's 4 kills for that one. So at least 4 kills right now for DarKFoRcE with this little drop over here. We did have that drop of roaches over here. Not sure what eventually happened to that. And actually, it looks like DarKFoRcE still a little, leery about trying to expand at that high yield expansion. Maybe worried about another Blinkstalker sneak attack there. Roaches again trying to get a few more kills. 5 kills for this one, 1 for that, and 3 for that. So getting a few worker kills there, burrowing down those roaches, and we'll have to wait until HuK moves over here with an observer to actually take care of that. And looks like he's utilizing this to go ahead and actually push that army across the map while HuK is a little bit distracted. I mean, the bulk of HuK's force right now is in this expansion. Rightfully so, too. He needs to deal with those. Doesn't want to take too heavy of economic loss, but at the same time, again, here comes that push. DarKFoRcE moving across the middle right now with those Broodlords. He's going to be getting some vision on the high ground. A free pylon kill over here. Let's see how quickly HuK is able to respond to this. He's actually moving out for a counterattack. HuK will be counterattacking. He doesn't want to engage us right now. No, it looks like he is in fact pulling back, deciding, hey, I don't need to lose all these production buildings. That would be pretty bad right now. So pulling back, getting ready to try and engage it. Archons moving from both sides. We're going to see some fungal growths moving down as well as those charge zealots moving on forward. Fungal growth going to be crucial here. He needs to protect these Broodlords as much as possible. Big fungal growth. Blinkstalkers moving forward and trying to get up under those Broodlords. Dropping 2 already. A third one gets target fired down. Some more fungal growth laying down massive damage. We're down to just those 3 Broodlords. A lot more infestors here, but they're running low on that energy. Those Immortals, a little bit of a cause for concern. He will want to burrow these down very quickly. Please burrow down those infestors. He's taking pretty heavy losses here. Not sure. Okay, there is an observer there, so even burrowing would be a problem. And unfortunately, DarKFoRcE lost quite a bit there, but let's take a look. I mean, they are relatively even right now, but DarKFoRcE will be losing all of his infestors. He does still have these roaches over here, though, with those zealots. Won't really be able to engage, and this is a big counterattack right now for HuK. We've got 19 roaches coming out, a few more corruptors that will be turned into broodlords. There we go, 3 more broodlords and a few more infestors. But HuK did do a lot of damage to that army. He took some pretty heavy losses himself, but dropping those broodlords plus those infestors were absolutely huge. You know, DarKFoRcE sitting right now with only 3 of that large force of infestors that he had prior. I believe he was around 14, don't really remember. But yes, somewhere around 14 infestors, now down to 3. Again, he's got some more coming out. He's got some more broodlords coming out as well. And whoa, DarKFoRcE canceling that expansion. Very interesting. Maybe worried that he's not in the position to defend it. I didn't want to even bother, but looks like now HuK, given the fact that he's managed to kill off so many broodlords this game, there's been 2 large engagements in which he's taken out quite a few broodlords. He's going to take advantage of this to try to go ahead and expand right here, because with that large threat of broodlords off the map right now, he's going to feel a little more comfortable when it comes to actually trying to defend this high yield expansion. Still a lot of harassment going on over here for DarKFoRcE at this expansion. We should be seeing that observer move up, although I'm not. There we go. 3 observers. 1's not enough. Make sure you got 3 of them. Proxy pylons down here for HuK, and those are actually very susceptible. We've got a few High Templar moving down as well, and here comes that big push right now for DarKFoRcE. Should be walking right into those High Templar. No High Templar going on the high ground here. And this is actually a really good thing for HuK, because he is now aware that this push is coming. Trying to warp in a few Zealots, and instead of trying to target fire down that pylon, actually engaging those Zealots just a little bit. Scouting forward with a few Speedlings, though, spotting something that he's maybe a little bit frightened of right now. At least his position isn't the most advantageous for him. And what was that frame rate drop? Gonna have to defrag after this. That's frustrating. So anyways, yeah, that was a very close position there for DarKFoRcE. DarKFoRcE really wasn't looking to engage, especially with those charged zealots. So actually we are seeing a little bit of a switch, a little more charged zealot heavy right now for HuK. This is going to allow him to swoop up a little bit quicker on those infestors, hopefully, fingers crossed at least. Also, of course, providing a meat shield for those blink stalkers and those archons, do massive amounts of splash damage. We'll be able to tear through any of those clumped up units. Couple free Zergling kills there. Zealot moving up just to scout, and he will be scouting out that hatchery expansion, so doing a little bit of damage here. He, of course, will lose his life for ire, but the scouting, it was worth it. Yeah, just keep telling yourself that, buddy. It was worth it. Don't worry. You're dead. No big deal. Zealot, though, getting that scout, so now HuK is aware. Maybe it's time at some point to get ready and prepare to try to snipe this down, and again, use that mobility of those blink stalkers to hightail it back home. Looks like those roaches were finally taken out over here, so HuK moving over with that heavy amount of observers that we saw earlier, did manage to take that out, and one Zergling doing a little bit of damage to that High Templar. Here goes a push. 2 big feedbacks going down. A huge storm going down on all of those Zerglings and roaches, doing quite a bit of damage. Trying to provide some buffer for them. Those Broodlords doing a little bit of damage. Blink Stalkers moving forward as well. The roaches turning around to engage right now. Some big fungal growth going down on a lot of those zealots. Also, those observers got fungal growth. Another feedback. And this is looking a little scary right now for DarKFoRcE. He's getting pushed back. Again, if he can protect those Broodlords, he'll be in an okay position. He doesn't. There's not too much anti-air here for HuK, though. So if he can push this back, and look at that, yes, HuK realizing he doesn't have enough anti-air to deal with the massive amount of damage laid down by those Broodlords. He will be pushed back right now. Roaches just keeping chase, getting a few more kills there, and now turning around and actually burrowing down. Those are scouted, though, by those observers, and uh-oh. HuK getting some free kills right now, moving right on top, and there we go, dropping them so very quickly. We'll be forcing them to pick up and turn around and finally engage, and there we go, some Broodlords turning around as well, trying to help this engagement. Those roaches look to be safe for now. Speedlings surrounding that one Immortal, taking that off Broodlings in hot pursuit, but those dissipate, and what an intense game, guys. This has been pretty nuts. Hopefully I've been keeping this entertaining for you. I certainly hope so. That's my job after all. So we got those Broodlords right now, and since DarKFoRcE is starting to sit a little Broodlord heavy, he's in a good position now to engage his high yield, and this is what I had mentioned earlier. This is very susceptible to Broodlord harass. Now, the one thing he can do is Blink Stalkers right here, get right up within range, and that allows him to do quite a bit of damage. But look at that, moving forward and back and forward and back, and he will be harassing this line quite a bit right now with the Broodlings. At the same time, looks like we'll be seeing HuK move out with a counter push. Needs to be careful though for fungal growth, and Speedlings trying to get us around right now, moving forward, turning around to engage. Those Broodlords actually getting off that resource line, turn around to help with this engagement right now. HuK will be forced to push back. He cannot deal with the big force that's moving forward right now. Even with that Psy Storm, not enough damage to those roaches. Will be forced to push back right now. HuK's looking like he is in a pinch right now. He could be losing this expansion at the very least. He will be taking heavy econ loss unless he pulls these probes off the line. Look at this switch up though, coming from HuK, dropping some Dark Templar in play, but yes, HuK taking heavy economic losses. Broodlings will tear through those workers very quickly. Here comes that push charge. Zealots moving forward, and a few DT mixed in there as well. Hopefully we have some cloak detection here. This could be bad for DarKFoRcE without that cloak detection. It looks like he is all set because of dropping those fungal growths. Fungal growths, of course, decloaking them, and that is very, very nice right now. We still got a few more DT in play. Roaches plus those Broodlords doing massive amounts of damage to those Stalkers, but still, look at these DT doing quite a bit of damage. So DarKFoRcE, hopefully he gets, oh, well, he does have these 2 Spore Crawlers up here, or 1 Spore Crawler and a Spine Crawler. That cloak detection, though, will allow him to take out those DT. See you later, DT, and the Broodlings pushing back those Stalkers as well. So HuK will be forced right now to pull back. I do not think he's got enough. We got a lot more Infestors coming out. Also, a ton of Speedlings there, and blinking up in the high ground, and HuK will be going for some expansion harass over here. And how will this response be? Yes, he will be choosing to move forward and engage his Blink Stalkers. We'll be actually trying to sandwich them. The Broodlords over here and the Roaches going up from the high ground. A few more Roaches plus Infestors at the low ground. Does he get a Fungal Growth off? No, but he does get a little bit of damage there from that long range of those Broodlords. And again, those Broodlings chasing even after the Broodlord fire. Certainly a great benefit of having that unit. You know, having those extra Broodlings to chase around on the ground even after you have engaged. Certainly very nice. Now, this is looking really good for DarKFoRcE so far. You know, overall, HuK did seem to be at a slight advantage for most of the game, but these last few big engagements, really DarKFoRcE is pulling himself back into it, and the big thing is this late game harass here at this high yield from those Broodlords is so hard to deal with this Protoss, and right now HuK just sitting with these Blink Stalkers and pretty much nothing else. What does he have in the works? That's what I'm wondering right now, because we're not seeing anything from HuK right now in terms of macro. There we go, finally coming out with some shield upgrades, and this actually made a shield level 2. And again, here go those Broodlords, and look at this. No more gathering going on. He's going to lose this Nexus, and HuK losing the high yield. Very rough right now. Not sure what he's going to do about this. He's getting relatively low in terms of resources at his current mining bases, and now that we're in the super late game, these Broodlords sitting in dominant force will be very hard to shake them from harassing that expansion. So I'm a little bit concerned for HuK. HuK certainly needs to do some damage. We saw that switch into Dark Templar as an attempted method to kind of overwhelm and surprise DarKFoRcE. However, with some Fungal Growths, he was able to decloak a few of them, and in addition to that, the rest of them actually walked into detection range of that Spore Crawler, so that didn't work out, and that was actually some pretty heavy econ loss, especially this late in the game where you really start starving for Vespene. I mean, taking a look over here, look at the income tab. This is not going to be pretty, guys. DarKFoRcE in a tremendous lead right now. HuK just does not have a lot of resource gathering going on, and you can see that evidenced up here by his stockpiled resource. So DarKFoRcE just massing up right now, getting ready to push out. He's sitting at 200 supply as opposed to the 148 of HuK right now. Let's take a look at the army supply. Oh, actually not too much more in terms of actual army supply, but oh no, he got the Overseers he got the Overseers there with those with those feedbacks, only getting the Overseers and not those Infestors, and that is not what HuK wanted. He was trying to nail down those Infestors. Unfortunately, that did not work out. Fungal Growth attempted to go down on his own Speedlings. That's interesting. Obviously a little bit of a late click there, but I'm really not concerned right now for DarKFoRcE. He's in a really good position now. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, wow, 7 feedbacks. Lots and lots of damage, but I don't even think it matters. Even with those clutch feedbacks, we should see some nice Fungal Growths. Very strong Roach presence here, plus all of these Broodlords, and see you later, HuK. Will be losing all of his army here. Nothing he can do about it. Again, even with those clutch feedbacks, there were 6+ feedbacks landed right on those Infestors. Didn't really matter right now. DarKFoRcE is just way too far ahead, and HuK calling the GG. HuK opened up this game with a 3-gate expand going Century Heavy. Spotting that expansion, DarKFoRcE moved into his 3rd. HuK went with quick hallucination research, which allowed him to get out some Phoenixes to do some really nice early to mid-game scouting. HuK started things off going heavy Blink Stalkers, while DarKFoRcE went for Roaches and Baneling dropping. Our first large engagement came at the 16-minute mark with a Roach and Baneling push. At the same time, we also saw DarKFoRcE drop into the main and the natural expansion. Now with this, HuK was able to defend, although he did take heavy econ damage at the main and that 3rd expansion. But with heavy Blink Stalker forces and some nice force field placement, he was able to deal with these Roaches and Banelings. For the next 10 minutes of the game, there's just a lot of macro and vying for control in the center of the map. However, around 27 minutes, we saw our next big push, and unfortunately for DarKFoRcE getting caught out of position, he lost all of his Infestors, 2 of those Blink Stalkers, and then immediately after, lost his Broodlords here. This was very nice for HuK, but at the same time, DarKFoRcE was dropping inside of HuK's main and managed to do a little bit of damage with that as well. After killing off those Infestors and Broodlords, we saw a counterattack from HuK sitting very Blink Stalker heavy. This allowed him to snipe off this high yield and then immediately hightail it out of there. HuK dealt with quite a bit of drop harass all game between roaches and banelings. DarKFoRcE was really persistent with the dropping and managed to do quite a bit of damage. As the game progressed, DarKFoRcE was able to keep his Broodlord count strong, and as a result of this, HuK had a very hard time defending this middle expansion, and this eventually led to his downfall. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This was game number 1 in a best of 3 series here between HuK and DarKFoRcE. We'll be moving on to game number 2 in just one moment. As always, if you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Keep watching and keep owning.